What's up, y'all? I'm Blaze, and I'm back today with another movie for y'all. If you're a returnee, nice to see you again. And if you're new here, never seen me before, what's up? Where you been? As always, like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell so you don't miss none of the videos I'm about to throw your way. In today's video, we're talking about The Descent. I'm giving it to you in 5 minutes or less. This is one of my favorite horror movies ever. So yeah, let's talk about it. So this starts off with a girl named Sarah. She's whitewater rafting with her best friends, Beth and Juno. Sarah's husband, Paul, and her young daughter, Jessica, picked them up. And as Sarah, Paul, and Jessica are driving away, all of a sudden, both Paul and Jessica get killed in this car crash. Sarah wakes up in the hospital. She's told this horrible news. So we flash to a year later, and Juno's planning this girls' trip. They're gonna go cave exploring, or like spunkling or something like that they call it. So going on this trip is Sarah, Juno, Beth, and then we have sisters, Sam and Rebecca, and then newcomer Holly, and they're staying in a cabin. So where they're cave exploring is in North Carolina, the Appalachian Mountains, which if you've heard the horror stories about that, you know to stay away from there. Anyways, they go to this cave entrance, and Juno's kind of giving a rundown on what could happen and what they could come across. Little does she know, she has no idea. So they all descend down into this cave, and you see what looks like a handprint on the wall. Then you see a bunch of bats. They get scared. Sarah, you can obviously tell through this whole thing, is really reeling and still trying to handle what happened to her a year later. So they're going through these tight little tunnels where they're crawling. Sarah ends up getting stuck. Beth crawls backwards in there, and the rocks start crumbling above them. So they're like, holy crap. They end up getting out of there. The tunnel collapses and they're trapped. This is when Juno drops the bombshell that this cave has not been explored by anyone before, and that nobody's going to be coming to rescue them, so they got to find a way out themselves. The group ventures further into this cave, and they reach a point where they have to go from one side to the other. It's a big drop off, and Juno, she takes on this job, and as she's going across, she sees somebody has explored this cave before because there's equipment from that old cave explorer. She uses this, and they make their way across to the other side. They then reach a cave painting, and Beth insists that they light up a flare. They're kind of hesitant at first because they've lost some of their supplies in the collapse, but they light it up anyways. It shows that there's 2 entrances / exits to this cave, so that gives them some hope. They venture on, and Holly thinks that she sees daylight. She goes running off, and she slips and falls down and breaks her leg. I mean, the bone is sticking out. Sarah, she's kind of off at the back. She sees this figure in the dark, and then it looks at her and then kind of jumps away. So they manage to hobble Holly along. They find a bunch of animal bones. They're in this den, and then all of a sudden we have one of the best jump scares in a horror movie. We see this thing pop right up behind Beth, and then they all scatter. The crawler jumps onto Holly, and it's attacking to her. Juno is trying to fight and get this crawler off Holly's body. It rips out Holly's throat. Juno is fighting it off. Sarah, she goes running off. She ends up slipping and falling and passes out. Beth starts to run after Sarah, but she goes back, and as Juno kills this crawler, she thinks it's another one coming up behind her. She swings her pickaxe and hits Beth in the throat, leaving Beth choking on her own blood. Beth begs Juno to stay with her, but Juno runs off into the darkness, leaving Beth there alone to die. Sam and Rebecca, they ran off on their own, and then Sarah, she wakes up to see these crawlers feeding on Holly's body. Juno discovers more cave markings, and then she comes across Sam and Rebecca, who are being attacked by a crawler. Juno kills this crawler, and then Sam kind of examines this creature and says that like a bat, it hunts by sound. As Sarah's exploring through this cave, she comes across Beth laying on the ground, just clinging for life, and in her hand is a pendant that belonged to Juno. I forgot to mention that as Beth fell down to the ground, she grabbed the pendant that Juno kept. That pendant has a message that Sarah's husband used to always say, which confirms that Paul and Juno had been having an affair, and Sarah finds out that Juno left Beth there to die alone. Beth begs for Sarah to just end it, and Sarah takes a rock and hits Beth in the head. Sarah then encounters several crawlers. At one point, she's in a pool of blood. She fights off these crawlers, killing them all. She has this epic scene where she crawls out of this pool of blood, holding her torch up in there, and just screams. We see Sam, Juno, and Rebecca hearing Sarah scream. Juno, Sam, and Rebecca are attacked by these crawlers, and both Sam and Rebecca are killed by them, leaving only Juno and Sarah alive in the caves. They meet up. They fight off a big bunch of crawlers. They're kicking butt. I love this scene. It honestly made me, as a kid, want to get a pickaxe so I could learn how to fight with these. So Sarah and Juno kill off all the crawlers they've been fighting. We hear more crawlers approaching in the distance, and Sarah and Juno have this little standoff where they're just staring at each other, and Sarah slips out of her hand, the pendant. Now Juno knows that Sarah knows the truth. She knows what kind of person she is. And then Sarah takes her pickaxe, swings it, hits Juno in the leg. Sarah runs off, leaving Juno with this pickaxe in her leg, and the creature's approaching. We hear the sounds of the crawlers, and then we hear Juno screaming. And there's two different endings to this movie. There's a US version and a UK version. So in both versions of this ending, Sarah makes it out of the cave, and she gets into the car. She goes flying off. We see her crying in the car. She looks up to see Juno all bloody standing next to her, and then it ends for the US version. And for the UK version, we see Sarah still in the cave. She's having a vision of Jessica standing in front of her with a fire, and yeah, that's how it ends. I really love this movie. This is The Descent in 5 minutes or less. Hopefully it's 5 minutes or less. This one was pretty long, I can't lie, but yeah, it's pretty scary, and I just love this movie.